Hola, my spacemen, strippers and banana-eating wolves. You already know why you're here. It's time to react to part 4 of Eurovision 2022. Let's hit it.
You already know.
Welcome back to the Rob Pop YouTube channel, your campus tits pop culture fix, and we're back for the final part of my journey through Eurovision 2022. We're coming just in time. It's the final week before the semi-finals hit. We've reacted to 30 songs so far, which means there are just 10 songs left for me to get my teeth into before Eurovision week begins. This contest has some amazing songs in it, and I have no doubt that the 10 songs that I listen to today are gonna add some absolute necessities to my list of favourites. We're gonna be reacting to the likes of Poland, France, Greece, Portugal today, just to name a few, and then I will have my complete 40 songs for Eurovision 2022, and I could not be happier. I say it all the time, but it doesn't get better than Eurovision. So let's get straight into it. This is part 4 of my Eurovision 2022 journey. Okay, so song 1 that I'm reacting to today is definitely a favourite amongst the fans. We're going to Poland. They're represented by Ochman, and the song is River. Okay, we're hitting ballad territory. He definitely has his competition with male ballads this year. Great eyebrows, first of all. Ooh. I really like his tone. In a contest where we've got like Sheldon Riley's voice, I really like his sort of deep, dramatic, theatrical vocal. This is giving like soundtrack from a film. I'm not blown away, but there's something very different about it in the ballad sphere. This is dramatic. I hope they stage it slightly better at Eurovision. It feels a little bit sparse here. They're trying to make it more with like the splashing of the drums, but it needs to be even more theatrical, even more dramatic. Let this guy's vocals soar. Nice. It's not something I see myself streaming, it's not something I see myself voting for, but it's certainly something that I can appreciate from a musical standpoint. I think that it's really well crafted. I love the way it builds throughout. I love his voice. It's very, very unique actually. He's got a very mature voice. He looks young, but he's got a very mature voice that almost sounds like it belongs in like a musical, but I wouldn't say this song feels like it belongs in a musical. It feels very modern, feels very current. I liked the production on it. Beautiful voice, beautiful man, and a very strong song. Generally quite fantastic. So I'm gonna give this a 7.5. We'll be seeing this in the final, 1000%. Right now we're moving on to song number 2, and it's a song that I've not seen the most positive reviews for, but hey, Eurovision is divisive, I may break the mold. This is Bulgaria, and this is Intelligent Music Project. This is Intention. Definitely doesn't sound like modern rock. Bit damp. This is dated as hell. I thought it was going for like Foo Fighters territory, but it's kind of fallen back to like the 70s and 80s, if anything. But not in a bringing the 70s and 80s to the modern day, just the 70s and 80s. It's not dreadful. This chorus likes a real punch. I think if there's one thing that rock's meant to do, it's meant to feel like a punch. It's meant to feel like an attack. And this feels like a caress, a light tap. This could have gone so much harder. I mean, look at Blind Channel last year. They went all in with their rock. This is just like too tame. Cheryl once said, weak, limp, lifeless. She was talking about this song.
Weak, limp, lifeless.
Yeah, that's just really average, isn't it?
No, it's shit like guys.
There's certain songs so far that I haven't like loved, but I'm kind of like, well, at least you're giving something. This doesn't give anywhere near enough for me. Like, I actually thought it was gonna be bad. From the stuff that I'd read, I actually thought it was gonna be bad. I actually just think it's limp. I actually think it lacks energy. I think it lacks excitement. I think it lacks innovation. I don't really have much positive to say to this because I would never listen to this in the year 2022. Maybe if it came out 40 years ago. How do you go from Victoria to this? A weird level of artistry. Don't really get it. I'm gonna give this a 4. I can't give songs below a 4 if I don't think they're actively bad. I don't think this is bad. Okay, it's quite bad. Whatever, let's just move on. Onwards and upwards we go, hopefully. We're moving on to Denmark now, and this is Reddi with the song The Show. Her hair's giving me like glam rock. The piano is not. This is nice so far. It's kind of giving me like a Lady Gaga album track ballad. Nice voice. Oh. Oh! Oh, it's a band. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Go off, I guess. I feel like I should be more excited about what this has become. It's not bad though. I think I like what it's going for more than I like the actual end product. You go, girl. We love an all-female band. I'm very here for that. And I like their styling. It's going for like a rock thing, but there's almost like a Schlager element to like the melody of it. I don't think it's bad. I must say I don't think it's bad. I just think this is going to struggle to stand out because it just needed more attack. It really needed to go for what it was going for a bit more. You always have to give 110% at Eurovision. You have to go over the top. And I think this song just kind of flies a little bit under the radar and it doesn't leave enough of an impression for a song that's trying to make a lot of impression. If you're going to do two totally different things in a song, you're wanting the crowd to be like, whoa. I remember when Love Wave like just went crazy and it was like, what the hell is going on in my life? But this, you kind of go, whoa, what's going on? I mean, you're like, oh, this is what's going on. I almost wish it felt a little bit more modern as well. I feel like the styling went sort of 80s glam rock, which is great. That can be quite on trend at the moment. I think something that sounded quite Miley Cyrus-esque would have been interesting. But the melody of it was almost a bit Schlager-esque, quite just like a campy pop song, but then they threw a few guitars on top of it. This, for me, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. Okay, moving on to song number 4 now, and we're moving to a country that often seemed to be really quite popular with the Euro fans. It's Portugal. They're represented by Maro with Saudade. I'm not always so on board with Portugal, but I like that they have their own sort of identity, what they tend to try to do, and they're very good at the sort of soft, sullen kind of ballads. So let's see what Maro is going to bring to 2022. Ooh, that voice. A very unique voice. Ooh, hello, ladies. This is quite minimalist in its approach, but it definitely has enough level of interest. It's not going by unnoticed. Oh, these visuals are cute. I like the childlike kind of animation. Is Maro a group or are these backing singers? I just would like to know. This feels very raw, very genuine to the heart. I'm liking the clapping. This is quite cute, isn't it? I'm like, oh. Like, it's not blowing me away because this isn't like my sort of thing, but I appreciate it for what it is. I really like her vocal. I can definitely understand the appeal that this song has. It's very beautiful. If you're into this sort of thing, then it does what it aims to do fantastically, which is kind of what I was saying with Bulgaria and Denmark. They didn't go all in with what they were trying to go for. This wants to be a chilled, minimalist, but quite a beautiful storytelling moment. And Portugal have started to master that really well. They don't go for all of the fireworks. They go for something that's a lot more sort of introverted, but it always has its fans for those reasons because it finds its own lane. Is it the most for me song? No. As Salvador Sobral described. I'm a fan of like the plastic part, the fast food entries. You know, you'll probably watch this and think that I have a complete lack of taste. But the thing is, I appreciate it. I am more drawn to those entries that make a bigger impact, but I definitely have an appreciation for this. I don't think you could be a fan of music and not have an appreciation of this. There's something very raw, very genuine. I really like the sort of tender clapping. I love the visuals of it. I love their styling. It's almost like a gentle lullaby. For me, I'm gonna put this at a 6.5. It's gonna draw people in an intimate sense. Righty ho, on to song number 5 now, and it's a song that I've heard quite a bit of hype for. And we're moving on to Greece now. They're represented by Amanda Tenfjord, and this song is Die Together. I think they've had a real good run of entries recently, Greece. Disko was fantastic. Not so much live. And Stefania, she killed it last year, so let's see where Amanda is taking us. She's giving Lord, she looks like Lord. Very quiet intro. This is almost like a cappella, so this is gonna stand out live. Ooh. If this is a cappella, then this is gonna be so haunting at Eurovision. Ooh. I'm so interested in where this is going and how this is building. Oh, we're going all off now. This is right. This is really, really built. Her voice is fantastic. It sounds great when it's a cappella, but it also sounds great when it's got that thumping production behind it. It's got a unique fragility and a unique power that comes together to make something really quite stunning. Come through, girl. Sublime bliss. That was very, very powerful, and it has an ability to be a very special moment on the Eurovision stage. I hope they keep that first moment so intimate, because it's pretty much a cappella, isn't it? And it's a cappella for much longer than you'd expect. You almost expect like the first 4 lines or maybe a verse, but even the first chorus remains a cappella. But then it really soars by the time it gets to the end. You're like zooming over the cliff top, zooming into a whole new soundscape. It makes you feel special. It makes you feel invited and cozy and safe. I don't know how I got all of that from one listen, but it really just kind of took me there. I felt like my head was painting so many stories and so many images, and that is a sign of a really fantastically crafted song. I think this is a top 10 in the final. A very strong entry from Greece. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's got room to grow for me as well, because I spent so much trying to like gauge where it was going, but I think by the time this gets to Eurovision, this could be a 9. This could be close to a 10. Okay, let's move on to song number 6 now, and it's time to go to the disco. We're going over to Slovenia now. They're represented by LPS, and the song is Disko. We're going for another retro moment here, I sense. Very true to the disco era. I think I want a bit more performance ability from this so far. It's a bit static. I'm clicking, but I think I'm trying to get myself more hype than this song is allowing me to go. It's going somewhere, but where? It all just feels lacking in energy. I feel like disco should make me want to get up and dance. This isn't making me want to get up and dance at all. It's making me yawn, if anything. Like, is that it? It's painfully okay. If there was one thing that disco is meant to do for you, it's meant to make you feel joy and happiness, or a sense for you want to get up and dance, but it did none of those things. It just felt like it started at a level and all the way to 3 minutes. It never elevated from that level. It never really took me anywhere shocking. And I get what these guys are going for. I just thought it lacked fun. Honestly, I just don't really think it's for me. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I think this is my least favourite so far because I feel really just underwhelmed with it. I just feel like it didn't give me anything that I wanted it to give, so I'm gonna give this a 3. Okay, next up we have Belgium. They're represented by Jeremie Makiese. Maybe, with the song Miss You. I feel like Belgium have really sort of found their lane in Eurovision recently. They've become almost like alt pop, indie. So let's see how Jeremie is going to continue that trend, or if he continues that trend. Love your hair, hope you win. Relatable. Sometimes I booze. I really like his voice. I love the gravelly tones. Ooh. Let's just take on like an R&B element. I hear strings. Always a tick for me. I wanted to go a little bit harder. I know that seems to be a running theme of this video. We love the gospel choir. His vocals are doing more than the production is doing. The production is like sauntering along, but his vocals going in, and I need them to both match a bit better. It's quite a cool entry. Is it going to stand out? I have difficulty thinking it will. I mean, that's a last note. That's how you do the last note. It does similarly to what Denmark did, where it sort of teases you that it's going to be a ballad, but then it hits in it does something else. This felt a bit more genuine to that style. It felt less like it took you into a completely different zone. It felt like a natural progression. I don't think the problems I have with this song lie in Jeremie. I think they lie in the fact that I don't think it sounds well enough produced. I'm gonna be completely honest. There's not enough like bass or not enough pulse, but his vocal is commanding attention. It really like stands out. It's really like, give me all your attention. So in that case, the whole song should do the same. It shouldn't just be relying on you to carry it. So it just falls at a middle ground for me, and it sounds like the sort of song that I can imagine finishing like 11th with both the televote and the jury. I think I said this with Ireland, Brooke That's Rich, that I really like her vocals. I like where the track's trying to take me. I just feel like the production is a bit lacking and it ends up falling a bit flatter than it should. And for that reason, I'm going to give it the same mark as Ireland. I'm going to give it a 7, but I have confidence in how he's going to bring it to the stage. He looks like a real performer. Next up, going to song number 8, we're moving over to the Balkan regions now. We're over to Montenegro. They're being represented by Vladana, and she's telling us to breathe. This is very tender so far. Her image is severe. It's very strong. Oh. It gave me a shock. I felt like there was no warning that was about to happen. I like the production. I like that lyric. To act so selfishly is unforgivable. I really like that lyric. I actually quite like this. I don't think it's anything unique or remarkable, but I actually really like this. I think she's a great vocalist. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, this felt very classic. I think that is better than people are giving it credit for. I have not seen that hyped up anywhere. There are elements to it that are definitely just standard ballad, but there were certain things that it did that kind of shocked me as well. It kept me engaged. The sudden pace change at the halfway mark, her breath, the surge into the middle 8, the way at points it was so powerful and then at other points it was very tender, very soft. I believed Vladana and I really liked her. I was watching her and I was like, I believe you, girl. I believe everything you're selling me. I'm going to break my mold here because I think people are sleeping on this and I think this could do better than people expect. I think it's got a real immediate quality to it, and that's what Eurovision is about capturing someone in one listen. And this has captured me.
Rude.
I'm going to give this a 7.5. Maybe I'm overhyping it because I expected to not give it this much. It's not something I've seen any hype for. So good luck to Montenegro. I'm rooting for you. I'd love to see this in the final. Right, we're on to our last two songs now, and it's time to go over to Croatia. This year they're represented by Dimsic, and the song is Guilty Pleasure. Justice for Albina, and let's go.
You come without a warning, early in the morning, timing's never been our agree.
She's got a very pretty voice.
I'm with him until the death do us part.
It's the chorus.
Won't you run away?
This is weirdly understated, and the music video would have you believe we're listening to a banger. They're all like dancing to it on the tube. This song is strange. I don't get this song. I actually don't get what they're going for, I'm gonna be honest. It's nor a ballad nor an up-tempo. I think this song would sound better if it went for that kind of folk thing that like Rosalind was doing. Like the video is giving me big pop girl. The song is not. I find this chorus really disappointing. It either needs to be like a cutesy little acoustic number or a big pop song, and it has decided to meet somewhere in the middle of that and not hit either mark. It kind of fell into a weird ground that you couldn't feel emotionally engaged with it, but you couldn't dance to it. You just couldn't really do anything to it because it fell at such a weird tempo. Her vocal never really did that much. I honestly, I feel nothing from it. I think it was just an odd pairing. I think a voice like hers could have done with something much more pared back because it just felt too soft to try and carry any form of pace, and it all just felt a little bit sort of, this just isn't happening. The bus hasn't arrived at the station, has it? I'm gonna give this a 4.5. Right, I'm hoping that the last song is gonna end us on a high. We're going over to our last big five country of the year, and we're going over to France. Now, they have really sort of mastered and nailed their approach to Eurovision recently, and Barbara Pravi nearly took them to the victory last year. This year, they're represented by Alvan and Ahez, and the song is Fulenn. That is not an intro I would expect from France. This is giving me like gothic, marching through the woods. This goes into like a dance direction, but nowhere near any of the other dance songs from this year. It's got its own lane for sure. Ooh. That like deep bass line. I love this. The eye contact is so intense. The whole song's very intense. I would expect this type of entry from like Azerbaijan or Turkey if they returned. I'm shocked that it's from France, but I'm loving it. Am I the only one getting like a gothic K&O from this? This is fantastic. I love this duo. They both offer something completely different to the sound, but something very necessary. Yes, Daddy. That was not what I was expecting from France. I feel like they've mastered their way around like a French ballad, but they just took me to like a Celtic rave. One of the most interesting entries of the year by far. Like that, nothing sounds like that. Nothing else is going into the dance region that is. But that is a risky entry, unlike anything I've heard at Eurovision, but that really stands out. You know how like Shum stood out last year for being quite zany and taking you to like a completely different universe? This did that for me. I love this. I love both of them as well. Definitely love him. I'm really taken aback, but talk about ending it on a high. That was ending it on a high. I'm giving this a 9. This is going to like the top 5 in my rankings so far. That was so good. It was good, wasn't it? Let's face it.
10.
And that's it. We have reached the end of our Eurovision 2022 journey. We have listened to all 40 songs now, and we are ready for next week when we hit the Eurovision stage. Oh my god, it is Eurovision time and I am so happy. We've heard some amazing songs, but my favourite song from this section by an absolute country mile has got to be France. I did not see that coming. It came completely out of left field and took me into a dark rave, and I don't want to come out of it. My other favourite songs from this section, definitely got to give a shout out to Greece. I thought that was beautiful. And I also want to give a shout out to Montenegro. Stop sleeping on Vladana and Breathe, because that was really good if you ask me. Poland as well. Poland was really good. But we've got a really great Eurovision 2022 on our hands. There are at least, I would say, like 10 to 12 songs that I'm going to be listening to for most of the rest of the year. What would I say my top 5 for the year are? I would say definitely France after hearing that. Definitely Spain. Definitely Sweden, definitely Albania, and I think my other favourite would have to be Romania. I love Eurovision! So that is it for my Eurovision 2022 reaction videos, but that is not it for what I have in store. I definitely have a few videos that I want to put out when it comes to the final week in preparation. What is going to qualify? I now have to put my thinking hat on, my predictions hat on, and I'm going to get to that next. But I hope you all enjoyed reacting to these songs with me. I've bloody loved it, and I absolutely cannot wait for Eurovision 2022 to begin now. The rehearsals are well underway, and what a time to be alive. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more where the Eurovision reactions come from, and hit the notification bell if you want YouTube to do all the work for you and let you know when I upload a new video. But for now, we're Eurovisioned out.
I'm fucking gamed out.
And I have to say to you, let the Eurovision Song Contest commence.